Michigan recruiting is red hot. Yeah, you heard that right. Michigan Wolverine recruiting is red hot. I know the season's going in one direction. Well, guess what? Recruiting is just getting hotter as the season goes on. I don't know how all this works. That's why I got EJ Holland from the Wolverine on, and we're going to talk about some of these major flips that went down on Friday. We're going to talk about the new flips that EJ is now predicting to go down in the future. We're also going to hit on Bryce Underwood, of course. So before we get going, guys, make sure you hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. This right here is the best recruiting channel on all of YouTube. Michigan fans, jump on board and hit subscribe. All right, let's bring in EJ Holland. Friday was flip day. Shamari Earls from Georgia, Benny Patterson from Cincinnati. Where's Michigan getting all this recruiting momentum from?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think you made that point where the season is going down, not a great time on the field, but off the field, it's been a party, man. I mean, Michigan is landing some big time talent. They have a top 10 recruiting class right now. If they finish in the top 10, that would actually be their first top 10 class since 2022. It's interesting to think about because during the playoff runs, the national champion, you had the number 18 class, the number 15 class. So it was a really disappointing stretch on the recruiting trail. I think, there are a couple of factors working in Michigan's favor. I think this staff is young, energetic, led by Sharon Moore, who's been able to personally connect with a lot of the recruits and really sell the program. Jim Harbaugh towards the end of his tenure was kind of hands off on recruiting, where Sharon Moore is very, very proactive. Mm-hmm. He has a lot of ties. And I think the most important part of all of this is Michigan has always had an NIL problem when it's come to recruiting. And I think they are taking steps forward towards fixing that. They have taken steps here over the last couple of months with guys in that top 100 range that they normally weren't getting. I think in the industry ranking over the last two cycles, they only landed one top 100 recruit. So, they're upping their game in that arena. They hired a general manager, Sean McGee, who's been a big part of that. And now you're seeing some boosters step up too with Bryce Underwood and a couple of others. So, I think NIL makes all the difference in today's climate.
Yeah, their willingness to play ball in the NIL era has definitely taken a step up this season. You can feel that with just some of these big flips that's going on right now. And those big flips happen on Friday, Shamari Earls and Benny Patterson, but you predicted two more coming out of the weekend. Tell Michigan fans who you're predicting to flip now.
Yeah, definitely. So like you said, Benny Patterson, Shamari Earls already flipped in. Shamari Earls was a massive land from Georgia. Benny Patterson, a key one along the defensive line from Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. I think that they are in a good spot to flip. Three-star wide receiver Jamar Browder from NC State. Not the highest ranked kid, but Michigan wants to add some more size to its wide receiver room. He's definitely a bigger kid, a true outside big body. And then I think Elijah Dotson is another strong flip candidate. He's currently a verbal pledge to Pitt. But that one's super interesting because they've been kind of hot and cold on Dotson throughout the cycle, especially with Lamar Morgan coming in as the new secondary coach. He took a lot of time to evaluate him. They got him on campus a couple of times earlier in the fall. This one was an official visit. So I think they're now in a spot where they're going to take Dotson, and that's significant news because he is a teammate of five-star quarterback Bryce Underwood. So, they are good friends. And, if you are making that move for Bryce Underwood, it would be smart to take his teammate. Now, Dotson's a really good player in his own right, really high ceiling prospect, but I think you kind of have to take him. He's a local kid. It helps you with the Underwood race. So it's another little wrinkle in the Underwood recruitment. So we'll see how that one goes.
All right. Speaking of, roll up those sleeves. It's time to get to it. Let's talk Bryce Underwood. The last time you were on the show, it was Tuesday. So it's been nearly a week. And in a week of recruiting down the stretch can feel like a month. So what are kind of the latest developments? One, I know Michigan fans watching this, they probably know he wasn't at the game, but can you confirm whether or not he was at the game on Saturday? And also, what's just the latest you're hearing on Bryce Underwood?
Yeah, definitely. So he was not at the game. Some fan took a photo of the recruits at midfield, which was really grainy. There was this giant kid who was actually Derek Meadows. A different LSU commit was on campus for the game. So, yeah, he was not on campus. That photo was of Derek Meadows. But in terms of what's the latest, it's funny because we talked about it earlier about how the season is going downhill, the recruiting is going uphill. I think, the more Michigan struggles on the field, maybe the better for recruiting, just because boosters want to invest more in the future of the program. Like I said, when they initially started this pitch to Bryce Underwood, desperate times call for desperate measures. And so I think there's a little bit of a sense of desperation. And the more they struggle on the field, the more they're going to push. So I still think Michigan is all in on this NIL battle for Bryce Underwood. I still think they're going to match whatever LSU does. Now, this week is very, very important because Bryce Underwood is set to make his official visit to LSU. You can bet that the Tigers are going to do everything they can to shut this down. So I was told by one source that they're just trying to survive this week and continue to make their pitch. And we'll see. I said this when I talked to Pete Nakos. I don't think Bryce Underwood necessarily has to make a recruiting visit, since this is a bit more of a transactional recruitment, and he's been to campus a million times in the past, even though he hasn't been on campus this season. So I don't know if there's much more Michigan can really show Bryce Underwood in terms of the program. I think the NIL is the biggest thing they can continue to show they have the advantage over LSU with.
Okay, great intel there. And can I connect these dots? Wide receiver Derek Meadows, committed to LSU, was on campus. Is his recruitment at all tied to Bryce Underwood's? Like, if they flip Bryce Underwood, does the chances of flipping Derek Meadows go up exponentially, or are the two just not tied at all? Hey, Inside Scoop fans and college football recruiting nuts. It's time to upgrade your audio game. You may have a pair of headphones you like, but the battery life, it's too short, or they just don't stay in your ears, or you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars every time you lose an earbud. Enter JLab. JLab is creating headphones, earbuds, and work accessories designed for everyday lifestyle. You guys know the best of the best are wearing them, from Travis Hunter to Ohio State's Will Howard to Quinshon Judkins. So, for travel, here's what we recommend. The JBud Lux over-ear headphones. If you're working out, get the JLab JBuds Sport ANC4, offering a secure fit and a super long battery life for those tough workouts. Discover your perfect pair of headphones. Look for the JLab Blue Box at retailers everywhere, or visit jlab.com.
Yeah, they are. I think it goes up. I don't think Meadows would have visited Michigan yesterday if there wasn't some serious interest in Bryce Underwood. Now, Meadows did have interest in Michigan in the past. He made an OV in the summer, but definitely. Michigan was kind of a distant third, I would say. They tried to make a late run that didn't really move the needle too much. So, yeah, those two know each other. They, at one point, they ran in similar circles. They had the same mentor. Meadows is originally from the Midwest as well. So they know a lot of the same people and a lot of the same adults that are in their lives. So, yeah, I don't think Michigan lands Derek Meadows and suddenly that gets Bryce Underwood interested. It's definitely the other way around.
Yeah, that's the way
Michigan
I
would
read
have
it too.
Yeah, Michigan would have to get Bryce Underwood to get Derek Meadows, in my opinion. I think if Michigan does not get Bryce Underwood, the chances of getting Meadows are pretty low. If he were to flip somewhere, I would say it would be Notre Dame without Underwood.
Well, there was a lot more recruiting information coming out of the weekend. You guys can go to thewolverine.com. You guys do a phenomenal job of covering all things recruiting when it comes to Michigan. But there is a lot going on. So Michigan fans, are you guys connecting the dots? I mean, let me know. How do you feel now about Bryce Underwood? How do you feel about Derek Meadows? Obviously, you see the trajectory of the season does not match the trajectory of recruiting, because recruiting is red hot. So talk to us, comment section below. How you guys feeling coming out of another weekend? Let us know.